let's kick it off here. The battle over health care. President Trump expected to sign an executive order this week that will lift some insurance rules under Obamacare, according to the Wall Street Journal. The executive action would reportedly expand insurance options for Americans who buy coverage on their own or work for a small employer. Direct federal agencies to explore ways to loosen regulations, also on the docket, and potentially lower premiums. It would also reportedly allow people to buy insurance across state lines. This comes as the president tweeted this over the weekend. He spoke with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer about making a deal on health care, and he gave some insight into what he's looking for right now.
If we could make a deal, at least on a temporary basis, because Obamacare is exploding, it's gone. The premiums are through the roof. You see what's happening. Basically, if we could do a one-year deal or a two-year deal as a temporary measure, you'll have block granting ultimately to the states, which is what the Republicans want. That really is a repeal and replace.
Let's bring in former Health and Human Services Secretary under President George W. Bush and former Wisconsin Governor himself, Tommy Thompson. Mr. Secretary, Governor, good to see you.
It's always a pleasure, Maria, and congratulations for your program.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're happy you're here today. So what do you think about this?
I think it's great.
Yeah, a temporary one-year deal with Democrats?
Well, sure, why not? I mean, if the Republicans cannot do it, they campaigned for 7 years that they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. They didn't do it. They failed once, twice, 3 times. What is the president supposed to do? He's the commander. He's in charge. Health care is collapsing across this country. 45% of the counties across America only have one insurer at the present time, and some of those don't have any.
Yeah, no choice at all.
So, yeah, no choice. He's got to move. He's got to get something done. If Republicans can't do it, he's got to look around and find a way to get it done.
Governor, no, I was just going to ask, Governor, how much of an impact, though, will these executive orders be that we're expecting from the White House? Because it's essentially deregulation of the individual and small business insurance markets, where there's going to be a directive to the Health and Human Services and Labor and Treasury departments that will allow for the growth of associated health plans and also the ability to sell, say, short-term health plans as well. But will it really have an impact on the availability?
Absolutely, because if you look back on Obamacare, 2,800 provisions in the Obamacare Act said shall give the Secretary of Health and Human Services the power to promulgate rules and regulations. Obamacare is all about rules and regulations, all promulgated by the Secretary. Now, the President of the United States has executive authority through executive rules, and that's what he's doing. It has the force of law until it's changed. So, yes, it's going to have an impact, an important impact, and I think the next Secretary, whoever it is, the President puts in there, has awesome powers to change Obamacare for the better. You don't even have to go through Congress. You can change a lot of the provisions just by administrative rules.
Governor, how do you think insurance companies or the industry is going to respond to the ability to sell across state lines, or do they think it's too temporary, that it needs congressional legislation before they make that kind of investment?
Good question, Steve, but I absolutely think insurance companies have talked to them. They want to sell across state lines. Do you know of anything else you can't buy across state lines? You buy a car, you can buy fruits, you can buy things. Why not insurance? It doesn't make any sense.
Why did the Republicans leave that out of some of the bills they're considering in the Senate?
Yeah.
I can't apologize for all the Republicans who are making mistakes, Steve. They made mistakes. That's one of them. You should be able to. They advocated early on to cross state lines.
Do you think the Democrats will cut a deal with the president that will allow the governors, like you were, with welfare reform, to have real reform of Medicaid?
Democrats absolutely hate block granting back to the states because it takes power away from the federal government, and they're not going to do anything to do that. So there's not going to be a deal there. But block grants are important. They were under President Reagan. When I was a governor, we fought for block grants, and Republicans, I can't imagine Republicans voting against it.
You were able to put into start the ball rolling on welfare reform.
Absolutely.
Do the same thing on Medicaid. The Democrats are going to fight that.
Yeah, but come on, a lot of these Republican governors, they don't want reform. They don't want the burden on them because they just want the government to give them 100% or near 100% match on Obamacare plans. John Kasich doesn't want reform.
Then why be a governor? If you're not going to take the responsibility, if you got the power of having a block grant and you can develop your own program, what governor wouldn't take that deal? I don't know of any. I know I would.
All it takes is a couple of governors like you were to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of them out there, Steve.
Yeah, Kentucky and elsewhere.
I'm just curious. I think you see on the left right now, everybody's talking about how healthcare is imploding because Trump is putting so many limitations on enrollment periods, on how long, you know, the site is up. Yeah. And they're trying to distract it from that side, saying it's not going to implode. It's the president's fault for the way he's treating this. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond very easily. That's just not true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not correct. It's not honest. I mean, it's imploding by its own rules and regulations. It's imploding by the premiums going up. It's imploding because insurance companies cannot make a profit. It's imploding because nobody wants to buy it. It's imploding because of Obamacare.
Yeah, they're trying to muddy it up. And
absolutely. Oh, sure. Why not?
Right,
but it is but it's a messaging problem for the Republicans.
Yes, it is.
Because the Democrats have a much better message on that.
That's
because
right.
They're like, y'all couldn't fix it, you own it.
Yeah, it's a good point because
during that
it's all
whole
messaging.
congressional debate was how many people are going to lose their coverage. Aunt Tilly's going to get thrown on the sidewalk. The GOP completely blew
and they run for the hills.
Well, they miss it all. That's what's happening on the tax package as well, by the way. That we knew what the talking point was going to be after they came out with the tax plan, that it's a tax cut for the rich. And yet, once again, they got bullied. And now we're talking about, oh, no, we're not going to do anything for the rich.
You're absolutely correct, Maria. And what you said against the Secretary of Treasury when he was on your program, saying the fourth bracket is nothing but a tax increase. It is nothing but a tax increase. And how can you have a tax cut when you have the 80% of the people that pay the taxes give them a tax increase? I just don't know how you answer it.
Well, I keep making the point that the top 10% pay almost 80%.
Absolutely.
More than 70% of the tax. So if you're not cutting taxes on the highest earners, you're not really cutting taxes.
You're not.
Let me get this tweet out because the president just tweeted this just moments ago. He said Vice President Pence's decision to leave the NFL game, writing, the trip at Vice President Pence was long planned. He is receiving great praise for leaving the game after the players showed such disrespect for country. What's your reaction to this the whole mess here?
Well, if you're going to make a stand, do it. I compliment the vice president. Why not? He made a stand. He said, if you're going to kneel, I don't have to stay and watch you. I'm going to walk out. I think the vice president is absolutely correct, and he did the right thing.
If you want to make a stand, don't go in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that could have been. Sure.
Yeah, well why did he go? Well, he wanted to see the retired jersey of Peyton Manning.
I will say this, though. If he didn't go at all, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. The fact that he did go and left, this is a president who understands the power of symbols, the power of imagery, and starting a conversation. And if the vice president never went,
and the distraction of keeping this issue alive.
That's right.
And I blame the players for keeping it alive, too, because these are anti-Trump protests at this point and have been for some weeks. But nevertheless, rather than moving on, they know it resonates certainly with his base, just like this vast immigration proposal. I changed the word "vast" into a 3-syllable word, but again, that's part of his. That's part of what he's doing.
Governor, you're looking good. Are you going to run for office again?
Why not? Why not? You know,
announce it here.
What?
Make some news.
Tell us your plans.
No, I'm not ready. No. But thank you very much, and keep the good work going, I'll tell you.
Thank you so much.
And don't let them get away with a tax increase, all right, when they say a tax cut. Thank you very much.
I'll keep on it. Secretary, great to see you, sir. Thank you so much. Secretary Tommy Thompson joining us there.